Saying that a story has a beginning, a middle, and an end is a useless piece of information that does nothing to describe a story, and more importantly, it does nothing to help you tell a story. When people tell you that stories have beginnings, middles, and endings, it is some of the worst possible advice they can give you if you're hoping to tell better stories. Let me tell you why. The reason why this is terrible advice is because everything in the world has a beginning, middle, and end. This morning I got dressed. It had a beginning, a middle, and an end. I started with my underwear. That was the beginning. Then I put on a shirt and a pair of pants. That was the middle. And then shoes and socks. That was the end. Does it help people get dressed to know it has a beginning, a middle, and an end? No, it doesn't help in any way whatsoever. Everything has a beginning, a middle, and an end. A Snickers bar has a beginning, a middle, and an end. It has a beginning. I open it up. I take a bite. Oh, it's okay. Not the best Snickers bar in the world. Stories should have great beginnings, better than this one, by the way. Eventually, I would get to the middle. The middle is no good either. And then eventually, I would get to the end. The end. Oh, a really bad Snickers bar. Most are good. I think it's because it's so cold.
It's probably because I got at the gas station.
That doesn't help you make a Snickers bar. Doesn't help you even understand what a Snickers bar is. Everything has a beginning, a middle, and an end. My life, as much as I don't want to admit to it, has a beginning, a middle, and an end. I was born, I don't remember it, but I was born and that was the beginning. I'm now somewhere in the middle, and then theoretically, hopefully not, but possibly so, someday there will be an end. That doesn't define a life. That doesn't even help you understand how to live a life. Saying that a story has a beginning, a middle, and an end is a useless piece of information that does nothing to describe a story, and more importantly, it does nothing to help you tell a story. A story is not a beginning, a middle, and an end. A story is a singular moment in your life in which something changed. You thought about the world in a different way. You thought about yourself in a different way. You changed fundamentally as a human being. A singular moment in time that is wrapped around the context that brings that singular moment to the greatest clarity possible. One moment in time, what I call a 5-second moment, because these changes happen instantaneously, a 5-second moment with the context wrapped around it to make that 5-second moment as clear as possible to the audience that you're speaking to. That is what a story is. A singular moment in time where something changed about you or your perception of the world, and the context that you wrap around that moment to bring it to the greatest clarity possible to your audience. And that is every single movie you've ever seen, every TV show you've ever watched, every book you've ever read, any play or musical you've seen on the stage, and any story that I have ever told. If it doesn't have a 5-second moment of transformation, it's not bad. It's just called an anecdote. It's just a moment in time that is amusing and silly and delightful, but doesn't have the stickiness, the unforgettableness, the staying power, the connectiveness, the relatability of an actual story. They're not bad, you just have to understand they don't have the power of an actual story. So, when you're thinking about storytelling and you're thinking about, I'm gonna craft a story, I'm gonna produce a great story for the screen or the stage, or maybe just on my first date, the last thing you should think about, the very, very last thing you should think about is it needs a beginning, a middle, and an end. Because no matter what you say, no matter what the length of the thing you say is, it will always inherently have a beginning, a middle, and an end. But does that help you in any way? It doesn't. Everything has a beginning, a middle, and an end. So it is stupid, meaningless advice for crafting better stories. Instead, find a moment. Find a moment that means something to you in this world. Wrap the context around that moment to bring clarity so that the audience understands what you're saying, and then deliver it in the best possible way. That is the way to tell a great story.